all these years. I miss you when you're not here. I wish you were here, my dear Yoko. Even if it's just a day, I miss you when you're away. I wish you were here today, dear Yoko. Even if it's just one night, I miss you when it don't feel right. I wish you were here tonight, dear Yoko. Even if it's just 1 hour, I will just like a fading flower. Ain't nothing in the world like our love, dear Yoko. Oh, oh, Yoko. Never, ever, 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 ever gonna let you go. Oh, oh, Yoko. Never, ever, 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 ever gonna let you go. Even when I'm miles at sea, I know it's the place to be. Your spirit watching over me, dear Yoko. Even when I watch TV, there's a hole you're supposed to be. There's nobody lying next to me, dear Yoko. Oh, oh, Yoko. I'm never, ever, 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 ever gonna let you go. Oh, oh, Yoko. Never, ever, 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 ever gonna let you go. Even after all this time, I miss you like the sun don't shine. Without you on my one-track mind, dear Yoko. After all is really said and done, the two of us are really one. The goddess really smiled upon our love, dear Yoko.
Hey folks, going to be guitar lesson for Dear Yoko. Of course, written by John Lennon, released on the Double Fantasy album. John did many demos for all the Double Fantasy songs, and one of my favorite John Lennon demos of all time is the one he did. He recorded it in Cold Spring Harbor, which is on Long Island in New York. I grew up about 10 miles from Cold Spring Harbor, so when I was a 14-year-old boy, I guess I was playing my acoustic guitar in my room about 10 miles from John in his much bigger house in Cold Spring Harbor, playing this song for Yoko. And if you haven't checked out the video, it's beautiful. It's like the first YouTube video ever made. It's just John, his acoustic guitar, and that's it. And it sounds great, and it's available on YouTube, so definitely check that out. So this tutorial is really for John's Cold Spring Harbor demo version, but you can also use it for the Double Fantasy release, and I'll get into the tunings in a moment. So let's start. First, however you want to play this, and there's many ways to play this, the guitar is in standard tuning. Now, all the chords are Buddy Holly chords. They're all like G, C, D, A, D, E, whatever version, whatever voicings you want to use. So it's nothing complicated, but it's a great track. Let me show you how I think John's doing it in the demo, basically, and then I'm going to kind of add a little bit more to the Double Fantasy version, and that's kind of the Judge Timbers arrangement of this. But anyway, let me give you the chords first. There are not many. So again, with a capo on the 5th fret, I'm going to start the demo version in a D shape. The Double Fantasy version, the capo would be on the 7th fret if you want to play along. If you don't want to use a capo, the 5th fret would be in a G, the key of G major, and the 7th fret, D shape, would be in the key of A major. So if you don't want to use a capo, you can play it that way. But I'm going to teach this with the capo on the 5th fret. So we can use a D shape. So here's the chords, pretty simple. D, A, G, back to A, G, A, D. That's it. So it's... Next part is a C, O, Yoko. C, G, D, and that repeats. I'm never, ever, 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 ever gonna let you go. Again, just C, G, D. I'm never, ever, 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 ever gonna let you go. Now, the only other chords to know, it's just a change in the final verse, the after all is really said and done. So that one starts, the final verse only is D to a C now. G to D. Then it goes up to an A, G, D. So that's after all is really said and done. C, the two of us, G, are really one, D. The goddess A really smiled upon G, our love, dear Yoko, D. So that's the outro, or the final verse, I should say. But that is it. That's all the chords you need. And as I said, you could just strum those chords. I think on some of the demos, John is just strumming them. Some of them, I don't think he uses a capo, but whatever, however you want to do it. The one thing I've added to my acoustic arrangement, which I don't think John does in the Cold Spring Harbor video, is in the record on Double Fantasy, again, you'd slide the capo up to the 7th fret if you want to play to the record. Same shapes, same chord shapes. But you're going to add on the 5th fret with the capo, the high E string, you're going to add that note throughout the verses. So it's going to sound something like this. And this is purely optional if you want this. It's a little funky to do it. So in D, it's going to give you the chords, same chords, A, G, back to A, G, A, and then D. Just going to do an open D because you want to kind of hammer on the D. So it's going to sound like something like this. So it's just a hammer on the open high E string on the D. So. Well, even after all these years. So if you want that high string to G, to A, G, A, to a D. Very Tom Petty-ish to kind of keep a note ringing out throughout the chord changes. Tom Petty does that all the time. So here, if you want to add that, you can. You can definitely hear that note on the record. So we're going to go D again, A, G, A, G, D. I'm sorry, A, back to D. And then everything's the same. Oh, Yoko. Never, ever, 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 ever gonna let you go. C, G, D. Oh, Yoko. Never, ever, 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 ever gonna let you go. And then the outro, I do the. That's it, folks. That is Dear Yoko by John Lennon, at least my arrangement. Again, please check out John's Cold Spring Harbor video version that I think he recorded for Yoko. And if I didn't say this already, you probably know. I think Dear Yoko, John said, was really a sequel to Oh Yoko from the Imagine album. So it's a lovely song. Just a great track by John Lennon off Double Fantasy. Thank you, folks, for watching. I'll see y'all soon. Stay safe.